Peace, fellow pen texters. What up? This is Gary Lime. I am today coming to you live from outside of Lemoyne Plaza, which is here at Lemoyne College. Very convenient, I know. You probably have two questions. Your first question is probably, Gary, did you intentionally buy yourself lime green gloves just because your last name's Lime? To which I would reply, shut up, stop trying to hurt my feelings. Second question, which is more important than the first, is you're asking yourself, Gary, what can I do to make my buyback location more festive? Well, I am here to help with that second question. And one thing you can do is use wrapping paper around your table to kind of give it a bit more of that holiday cheer. So, a couple things you're going to need. First thing you're obviously going to need is wrapping paper. Now, I personally would recommend buying as much wrapping paper as possible for as cheap as possible, because you don't need fancy wrapping paper. So what I personally did was I went to like Walmart and I bought basically, they sell it in like 4 rolls for like $5. And it's great because each roll is about 2 tables worth. So that means those 4 rolls will last me my 2 weeks. The other thing you're also going to need is tape and tape gun. That's important. The other thing you're going to need, which is also important, is a cutting utensil. In this case, a razor. Now, as far as walk through the setup, first thing you want to do, make sure you set up everything else first. So you're going to want to, put up your banners, put up your balloons, set up the computer, get the balloons set up. Make sure you have all your flyers and your lollipops and your balloons and your sidewalk signs and then your balloons. You want to make sure you got all that covered first, just to make sure all that's up and running. After that, then we're going to do the wrapping paper. So what you do is, in this case, we'll take our Santa Claus wrapping paper. And quick side note, actually, now that I think about it, you might want to bear in mind what school you're at, because you don't want to put up certain kind of wrapping paper if it's going to offend other kinds of people who, if they're going to get mad because you didn't buy Hanukkah paper or Kwanzaa paper, then, bear that in mind if you think you're at a school that's going to cause a problem with. Me, I don't think anybody gives a crap, so I don't bother. I just get Santa and Frosty the Snowman. So, moving on. What you're then going to do is, you're going to take the wrapping paper, you're going to unspool it some, and you're going to make sure to unspool an excess amount that goes around one side, which you can see here how it kind of wraps a little bit around. Then what you're going to do is just continue unspooling it, and then keep taping it down, as you see here and here, as you go along. Other important note, once you get to one side, also then do the corner and the preceding next one after that. Do that first, because in one stretch before you stop and reassign, because it's windy. I don't know, most fall, winter buybacks, it's always really windy, and it's, from experience, I can tell you it's a pain if you don't tape it right then and there first, as you're doing it. But basically, it's that simple. The starting is that simple. You just kind of tape, move along, get to, get it, taut, tape, get it taut. Because remember, you don't want it too loose, you don't want too much slack, but then you also don't want to make it super tight either. So keep doing that as you go across, keep doing that as you go across, going across. Very good. I don't really know why the very good's there, but moving on. And then again, once you get to the very end, the tape down, and then also the excess going on, as you can see, going down the side. Now, why do you need the excess? Well, I'm going to tell you. What you are going to do is you're going to cut a piece of tape, and you're going to use it on the excess to tape it around the table leg, as you can see here. You're also going to do that for both legs. See that there? Tape, wrapped around, taping that. Reason you're going to do that is because something about wind friction, I don't know. I failed both my science classes. All I know is trial and error, and when I did that, it worked a lot better. So, keep that in mind. Another trade secret that you're going to want to know is cutting little holes in the wrapping paper. Now, the reason you're going to do this is, think of it like this. If you've ever seen a sign that hangs outside of a building, and you've ever seen small little holes in it, the reason those holes are there is so that way wind blows through it without taking said sign. And you're basically applying the same logic to this paper, because otherwise the wind, if you're at a campus that's particularly windy, like most of them are, will continue to take the paper, and will take the whole table because of the paper. So if you're going to be cutting, which you clearly are, you're going to have to need your choice is either a pair of scissors or a razor. Now, I didn't have a pair of scissors, so I used the razor. So if you're going to use a razor, be extra careful so you're not stupid like Gary and cut your thumb. Clearly, Gary's not the brightest one when it comes to sharp objects. So anyhow, what you're then going to do, and I'm going to show you here, is just cut small holes about yay big, which you can see here, how that size there, that there. Cut that into them, as well as small little slits, which you can see here. And just like indiscriminately, you know, kind of spread it around throughout a few places. And then also on the other side as well, where you see this guy, and this guy, a couple others. And that's going to actually, like I said, it's going to help the wind go through it, as opposed to taking the table with it when the wind blows. Another thing to keep in mind, another little trick that you might not think about, is when you're putting your utensils back, obviously you want to put the sharp object back in the little mini bin, and wherever you put the tape, you put the tape. But as far as the wrapping paper is concerned, because you'll have multiple rolls of wrapping paper, and one of them already opened, I personally recommend rubber banding all of the wrapping paper together. The reason being is because when you put the rubber paper back in the van, and then you drive the van, it'll unspool. And if it unspools, you're going to have to re-spool it, and you try to use it, and it doesn't really work as well because it's all crumply. Save yourself the trouble, rubber band it all together, you won't have that problem. Unlike certain people with long curly hair who had to then, you know, go through the entire van picking up wrapping paper. A couple other things to keep in mind. Or is that the last thing to keep in mind? Yeah. Oh, you want to make sure to buy like, each thing of wrapping paper generally covers for 1 day's worth. So like the wrapping paper I used on Monday, I'll pretty much throw away at the end of the shift, because it doesn't really look good if I keep it more than a day. But that's not really that big a deal because, you know, I bought like, you know, 2 weeks worth of wrapping paper for a whole $4. So that'd probably help you out. Anyhow, that's my bit of advice. One way to add some Christmas cheer to your buyback location. Be sure to come back next time where I'll show you how to put up lights on a Christmas tree. Peace.